On the first day of school, a young African-American boy named Michael submitted a blank exam paper. He only drew a small person on a boat on the back of the paper. This soon-to-be 18-year-old is seen as a difficult student by all the teachers. His IQ is only 80, and he can only achieve a D grade in all subjects. Only Coach Cotton from the church school believes that Michael is a highly talented individual. It was also Coach Cotton who argued for Michael and secured him a place in school. Michael's mother has a history of substance abuse, and the government placed Michael in a foster home, hoping he could receive a better education. The male guardian of the foster home took his son and Michael to the church school, hoping to use their athletic talents to gain admission for both. When Coach Cotton first met Michael, he became very interested in him. Michael is tall, with a wide pelvis, thick thighs, and excellent wingspan and hand size, moving very agilely during sports. Michael has the innate qualities to become an excellent left forward in American football, and with professional training, he has the potential to become a top athlete. Coach Cotton believed he had discovered a highly promising talent and immediately agreed to Michael's admission. Michael has a large appetite, which again drew dissatisfaction from others. At night, after hearing the arguments in the foster home, Michael quietly packed his belongings and left. All of his belongings could fit into a single plastic bag. 2 faded old shirts, which are the only clothes he has to change into all year. Wearing ill-fitting shoes, Michael stood out among his well-dressed classmates. Due to his introverted personality and poor communication skills, he wandered alone around the campus sports facilities, only to scavenge leftover popcorn from others after events to satisfy his hunger. This scene was witnessed by Sean, who came to watch his daughter compete. Sean runs several chain restaurants, and his wife Anne is a professional designer. Both are alumni of the University of Mississippi and have a harmonious relationship. They have 2 intelligent and kind children. Their son SJ is lively and good-hearted. On campus, SJ was the first student to judo with Michael Jaudio and told Michael to keep smiling to ease others' wariness. When Anne came to pick up her son from school, she noticed Michael and felt puzzled by this tall boy. Michael appeared lonely and dressed simply, a sight Anne had never seen in this environment. Michael's academic performance still does not meet the standards, and most teachers say that he cannot understand the course content and rarely engages in communication. Teachers generally believe that Michael should not have been allowed to enroll in the first place. Only one female teacher believes that Michael does not lack the ability to learn. She showcased the poem by Michael that was retrieved from the trash can. In the poem, Michael expresses that he is in a strange environment, unable to understand others' words, and no one can understand him. Michael is not incapable of acquiring knowledge. Rather, the teacher has not adopted a suitable teaching method for him. During his free time, Michael learns of a piece of bad news. His biological father, whom he has never met, has passed away. The teacher chooses her words carefully, fearing to cause psychological harm to Michael. However, the teacher does not know that the news does not have a significant impact on Michael. After leaving the foster home, Michael often goes to the laundry room late at night. He not only washes his limited clothes there, but also seeks warmth and spends the night. Although Michael tries to interact with others in a gentle manner, his tall stature still instills fear in others. In the empty laundry room, Michael quietly reads his textbooks. His reading ability is weak, making it difficult for him to keep up with the class pace. But in the quiet nighttime environment, he is able to absorb some knowledge. In the oral test the next day, Michael achieved a C grade for the first time. The female teacher happily informs everyone that this seemingly dull boy has the willingness to learn and hopes that the teachers will show more patience. The school holds a cultural event on the eve of Thanksgiving, and Anne and Sean go to watch their son's performance. On the way back, SJ excitedly shares what he experienced at the event. As they reach the next intersection, they find Michael, dressed lightly, walking in the cold wind, his tall figure appearing even more lonely. Sean asks Michael where he is headed, and Michael replies that he is going to the gym. Anne notices something is off, since the gym is already closed at this time. The vehicle turns around to catch up with Michael. Anne gets out of the car to ask Michael why he is going to the gym, and Michael softly answers that it is warmer inside the gym. Anne feels a sense of pity for Michael. When Anne learns that Michael has no fixed residence, she looks at her husband Sean and decides to help the boy in her own way. Collins, waiting at home with a face mask on, hears the sound of the door opening and finds Michael standing at the entrance. Michael stands awkwardly among the family, shyly observing the environment inside the house. The house is spacious, bright, and at a comfortable temperature, a living environment that Michael has never experienced. Anne carefully arranges the sofa for Michael, and the long-lost care makes him feel warmth on a cold night. The Thanksgiving promotional poster on the table reminds Michael of his childhood. He has never felt the warmth of a family. His childhood memories are filled only with violence, crying, and frequent displacement. As Anne prepares for bed, she begins to have doubts about her decision. Michael is a tall African-American male, and if he behaves poorly, this act is no different from inviting a wolf into the house. Sean comforts Anne, assuring her that just staying for one night won't lead to any accidents. Anne still finds it hard to sleep. The next morning, Anne descends the stairs with unease, only to see the tidy sofa. Anne rushes outside and sees Michael leaving alone, asking him if he is spending Thanksgiving with his family, receiving a negative response. Anne brings Michael back to her place again. Michael sits on the sofa looking awkward. During the meal, he takes food alone, cherishing the hard-earned meal. Anne sees her family watching a game on the sofa, then looks at Michael dining alone, silently turns off the TV, and moves the food to the dining table. The family hasn't prayed together over a meal in a long time. On this Thanksgiving, Anne is grateful for the arrival of a new friend and the changes he brings to the family. Michael is also grateful, thankful for the kindness encountered late at night and for the abundant meal before him. Michael then stays at Sean's house. Anne can't bear to see Michael wearing old clothes for long and suggests taking him shopping for new clothes. This enthusiasm is hard for Michael to accept. He states that he has clothes, but when Anne asks to see his clothes, Michael falls silent. The taciturn Michael leads Anne to choose a gentle way to communicate with him. Anne parks the car by the roadside, hoping to understand Michael's experiences. Anne informs Michael that he only needs to tell her one important thing. Michael's response exceeds Anne's expectations. He doesn't like being called Big Michael. Anne nods in agreement and immediately changes how she addresses him, showing her respect for Michael through action. Michael leads Anne to the chaotic and violence-prone neighborhood of Hurt Village on the other side of the city. Anne wants to get out of the car to help Michael get his clothes, but is refused by Michael. Michael also seems out of place with the local residents, choosing to ignore the idle people on the street. After returning home, Michael sees a notice of eviction and learns that his mother has been taken away by the authorities again due to drug use. Sitting alone at the door, Michael feels downcast, but soon remembers that Anne is still waiting for him. Michael takes Anne to a local clothing store, and Anne proactively links her arm with Michael's, asking him if he will protect her. Michael promises to protect Anne. In the clothing store, the two have differing tastes, but even if Anne doesn't understand Michael's choices, she still respects them. Back on campus, Michael, dressed in brand new clothes and shoes, rides in Anne's car to school with SJ. The new clothes symbolize the beginning of a new life, and Michael's expression is no longer just shy and silent. At the social gathering, Anne's good deeds were mocked by others, who believed her actions were self-serving. Upon hearing the discussions, Anne began to reflect on the meaning of participating in the gathering. At night, while Michael was helping Anne arrange the sofa, she suddenly asked him if he would like to live there long-term. If Michael were to stay long-term, a separate room would need to be prepared for him. Michael expressed his unwillingness to go elsewhere, as he felt warmth, care, and respect there. That night, Michael quietly said goodnight to Anne for the first time. Anne was listed as Michael's emergency contact. The school authorities then contacted Anne. The career aptitude test showed that Michael's scores were all at a low level, with the only standout being his awareness of protection. The lack of a sense of security had led Michael to develop a strong self-protective awareness, which he also used to protect his family. Anne prepared a dedicated room and bed for Michael, with a spacious and comfortable bed specifically configured for him. Michael stated that he had never had a personal bed before. No matter where he was, he could only sleep on a sofa, chair, or the floor, never having used a dedicated bed. Anne was momentarily speechless, unable to imagine Michael's past experiences, and only informed him that he now had a dedicated bed. Under this care, Michael gradually began to change, and his grades in cultural classes also improved. Teachers provided Michael with individual tutoring after class, and his exam papers were no longer blank, achieving C grades multiple times. When dining out, Michael browsed picture books with SJ and Collins at a bookstore. The stories familiar to SJ were ones Michael had never heard. Anne purchased that picture book. After the meal, the family was preparing to leave when Michael suddenly saw his brother, whom he hadn't seen in years. The two brothers embraced tightly. Afterward, Anne asked how long they had been apart, and Michael said they hadn't seen each other since their childhood separation. Even so, as adults, they still recognized each other. Before bed, Anne, in a motherly tone, told Michael and SJ the story of Ferdinand. Michael listened intently, unconsciously smiling, his expression filled with happiness and satisfaction. On Christmas Eve, a photographer took a family portrait of the Tuohy family to create Christmas cards for friends and relatives. Anne invited Michael to join the photo shoot. Seeing Sean's gaze, Anne explained that the photo would not be used to make cards. Michael stood in the middle of the family, beaming with a bright smile. This photo was ultimately made into a Christmas card by Anne and given to friends and relatives. When Michael learned of this, he felt both surprised and a strong sense of belonging. Anne participated in the socialite gathering again, and everyone teased Michael about his physique, believing that Anne's actions were merely a display of white sympathy towards the African American community, claiming that Anne had changed Michael's life. Anne, however, stated that it was Michael who changed her, and she was very grateful for his presence. When someone questioned whether Michael's existence would affect Collins, Anne fell silent. Collins is now an adult, and their concerns are not unfounded. But Anne believes such thoughts are narrow-minded. She trusts Michael's character while also worrying about Collins' feelings. Anne considered making separate arrangements for Michael, but Collins behaved very understandingly. Collins does not reject Michael's presence and, like her mother, is very friendly towards the shy Michael. In the study room, Collins sat next to Michael, disregarding the strange looks from others, studying together like family, close as siblings. The rugby training officially began, and Michael's tall figure immediately drew attention. Although Michael was strong, he had not received professional training and could not get into the right mindset. He frequently committed fouls and would even get distracted by balloons in the air. The coach was helpless. He had thought that Michael's unfortunate childhood would make him aggressive, but on the field, Michael was shy like a child. The coach even regretted having fought so hard for Michael's admission. Michael's current training level does not qualify him to participate in the fall events. To ensure Michael qualifies for competitions, SJ began one-on-one training with him. SJ, standing above as a coach, informed Michael that their family has a strong sports tradition, and as a family member, Michael should demonstrate corresponding athletic talent. Michael diligently followed SJ's training, repeatedly practicing running on the field according to the established plan. Despite the tough training, Michael found a purpose in life. He hoped to obtain identification documents, so he requested Anne to help him get a driver's license. When Anne accompanied Michael to handle the relevant procedures, they were informed that there was no information about Michael in the system. Only then did Anne understand the source of Michael's long-standing anxiety. Anne decided to adopt Michael and informed Sean of her idea. Sean believed that they did not know enough about Michael and that taking on legal responsibility required careful consideration. But Anne was resolute, and Sean eventually agreed with a smile. Anne applied to retrieve Michael's file, and the staff informed her that Michael's records were largely missing due to frequent changes in foster homes. Anne learns that Michael's mother has given birth to multiple children, but is unable to care for them due to drug use. Michael's biological father's identity is unknown, but fortunately, Michael is under government guardianship. After Anne submits her application and it is signed by a judge, she can officially adopt Michael, saving many procedures. After consideration, Anne goes to Hurt Village to find Michael's mother and informs her about Michael's current situation. Michael's mother tells Anne that no matter where he goes, Michael will return late at night to take care of himself, which greatly troubles the government staff. When Anne expresses her desire to adopt, Michael's mother breaks down in tears. She has given birth to multiple children and feels guilty about each one. Now that Michael is being adopted by kind people, she feels both relieved for her son and heartbroken for losing him forever. Anne approaches to comfort her, telling her that she will always be Michael's mother. At a family meeting, Anne asks Michael if he is willing to become a family member. Michael is first surprised, then looks at his family and humorously replies that he thought he was already a family member. Once the paperwork is completed, Michael finally has his own legal documents. The Tuohy family gifts Michael a car as a welcome gift for the new member. Michael is very excited to drive the new car and takes SJ to buy a new game. Inside the car, the two brothers sing happily, perfectly in sync, dancing in their seats. Joy makes Michael distracted while driving, leading to a collision with a suddenly appearing vehicle. In the moment of impact, Michael instinctively puts his arm in front of SJ to block the deploying airbag. After receiving the news, Anne rushes to the scene, where Michael sits by the roadside with a face full of regret, urging Anne to check on SJ's condition. Unexpectedly, SJ is unharmed. Although there are bloodstains on his clothes, his body is not injured. The firefighters inform Anne that an object must have blocked the airbag, which spared SJ from harm. Anne walks over to Michael, comforting him that it is not his fault. Accidents are unavoidable. Only then does Michael lower his blocking arm, and Anne sees the scars on his arm. Michael expresses that he has long regarded everyone as family, and when danger arises, he will protect his family without hesitation, even at the cost of his own injury. On the training field, although Michael no longer commits fouls, his performance still does not meet expectations. Coach Cotton's training methods leave Anne dissatisfied. Anne believes the coach has not used the correct methods and personally comes to guide Michael, telling him that the quarterback is someone to be protected, to view the quarterback as family, to protect their safe zone, and to treat team members as family, guarding them seriously. Anne accurately grasped Michael's mindset, making him clear about his responsibilities. After the training resumed, Michael performed excellently, successfully blocking the opponent's attacks multiple times. His talent was fully displayed at this moment. After the match, Coach Cotton asked Anne about what Michael had said. Anne informed that Michael scored 98 on the protection awareness test, and the coach needed to understand the appropriate training methods for the players. The autumn competition was held as scheduled, with a large audience present at the venue. Collins appeared as a cheerleader, cheering for Michael. In his first competition, Michael was disturbed by the opponent and struggled to get into the zone. This not only made the coach uneasy, but Anne was also very anxious. The score gap gradually widened. After losing points again, Michael was kicked in the head by the opponent. Coach Cotton was very angry and rushed to the referee, stating that he would protect the players as if he were protecting his son. Michael felt somewhat relieved upon hearing this and immediately stopped the furious coach, smiling and indicating that the coach need not worry as he was there to take charge. Returning to the field, Michael closed his eyes and recalled Anne's words. "The team is like family." When the whistle blew, Michael charged like a strong bull, tightly grabbing the opponent's player, pushing forward with all his might until he pushed the opponent out of the field. This spectacular performance ignited the enthusiasm of the entire audience. Coach Cotton looked at Michael in surprise. Anne proudly turned to the audience in the back seat and said that player number 74 was her son. The first victory greatly boosted Michael's confidence. On the field, he broke through limitations, repeatedly blocking the opponent's attacks. The score gradually leveled, and the opponent's players were suppressed by Michael's momentum, gradually losing their attacking courage. After the match, SJ made a video of Michael's performance and sent it to major college football teams. Michael's outstanding performance received high recognition from the coaches, who believed that Michael was a natural left forward, unmatched for the position. Coaches flocked to the city where Michael was located, hoping to sign this future star in advance, including the coach from the University of Tennessee, whom Anne disliked. Faced with numerous coaches, Coach Cotton was taken aback. When the coaches requested to watch Michael's training, Coach Cotton immediately agreed. At this time, Michael shed his shyness and quickly entered training mode. The coaches looked at this tall player in amazement and contacted the school, informing Coach Cotton that if Michael met the academic standards, the school welcomed him to join. Michael's average score was 1.76, with the passing standard being 2.5. Major universities sent out invitations one after another, and over 20 invitation messages nearly overwhelmed the Tuohy family's phone. Michael became famous overnight. He only needed to improve his academic grades to start a career in professional sports. The Tuohy couple hopes Michael will play for the University of Mississippi. The current priority is to elevate Michael's academic level. Anne hired a tutor for Michael, Sue, who also graduated from the University of Mississippi. Despite Michael's weak comprehension skills, Sue remains extremely patient, repeatedly explaining concepts to him. Meanwhile, the Tuohy family continues to host visiting coaches, all of whom come for Michael, hoping to secure him for the school before other coaches do. SJ acts like Michael's agent, negotiating terms with various coaches. The numerous favorable conditions make Michael feel the pressure of being in high demand. Participating in competitions, learning knowledge, meeting coaches, Michael's experience and skills continuously improve, and he wins championship trophies with the team multiple times, raising his grades from C to B. From the brink of dropping out to achieving success, Michael's life trajectory undergoes a significant transformation. The long-awaited coach from the University of Mississippi finally visits the Tuohy home. Out of affection for her alma mater, Anne informs the coach about Michael's preferences. Unbeknownst to her, Anne's understanding of Michael has surpassed that of his biological mother. Anne reminds the coach that although she dislikes the University of Tennessee, the school's current advantages are the most apparent. During the conversation, the University of Mississippi coach tries to offer the best conditions to impress Michael and SJ. During evening tutoring sessions, Sue intentionally guides Michael to choose the University of Mississippi. Knowing that Michael fears violent scenes, Sue deliberately mentions the incident where the University of Tennessee assisted the police in dissecting a body, instilling fear in Michael and leaning his heart towards the University of Mississippi. The day for Michael's college choice arrives, and under the attention of numerous media, Michael chooses the University of Mississippi, wearing the panda logo on his head. What is troubling is that Michael's essay grade is still a D. He must submit a qualifying thesis before graduation, otherwise he cannot graduate. Sue diligently drafts thesis topics for Michael, but he shows no interest in her suggestions. Sean tells Michael the story of the Valley of Death. 600 warriors bravely entered the Valley of Death, fully aware of the dangers, yet they pressed on without questioning the reasons. This story inspires Michael, and he finally determines his thesis topic. Michael submits his thesis to the teacher. At the graduation ceremony, Michael achieves a cumulative GPA of 2.52. When the principal calls out Michael's name, he walks up to the podium, wearing a graduation cap, and shows a happy smile. No one could have imagined that this outstanding young man could not even meet the passing line 2 years ago. Anne meticulously planned Michael's college life, but trouble came one after another. The National Collegiate Athletic Association intervened in the investigation, and Michael's choice to attend the University of Mississippi drew attention. The Tuohy couple graduated from the University of Mississippi, and Michael's teacher also graduated from that school, while Michael is their recently adopted son. These connections led the outside world to question whether the Tuohy couple's purpose in adopting Michael was to cultivate athletic talent for their alma mater. Faced with repeated questioning from investigators, Michael's faith wavered, and he left the scene before the inquiry was over. He couldn't believe that the Tuohy couple's care had ulterior motives, but the reality left Michael unable to refute it. He questioned Anne whether going to the University of Mississippi was her wish. In a state of emotional turmoil, Michael rejected Anne's explanation, demanding that she not deceive him, insisting that he was not a fool. Michael's agitated questioning made Anne uneasy, and she realized that she might not have respected Michael's wishes. Anne began to doubt herself, wondering if she was truly a good person. Michael didn't know where to go. He tried to find his mother but came up empty-handed. Enticed by idle people, Michael entered a bar for the first time. The bar environment made Michael uncomfortable. The leading individuals maliciously slandered Anne and Collins, and their reckless defamation pushed Michael to the edge, prompting him to intervene. The bar instantly fell into chaos. Hearing the insults around him, Michael felt as if he had returned to the nightmares of his childhood. All of this prompted him to leave the bar. Anne drove to Hattiesburg to find Michael, and facing the provocations of idle people, she warned them that if they threatened her and her son or stepped into her life space, they would pay the price. Even though the other party had a fierce attitude, they could not gain the upper hand against a mother fiercely protective of her child. Back in the car, Anne received a call from Michael, who for the first time referred to her as Mom. The mother and son talked in front of the laundromat. Michael told Anne that during his unfortunate childhood, his mother would tell him to close his eyes, and when he opened them again, She would say it was world peace. Thus, when faced with problems, he chose to escape. Anne informed Michael that even if he chose the University of Tennessee, she would watch every one of his games. His life is for him to decide. Michael asked Anne what would happen if he didn't play football. Anne still urged him to respect personal choices. At that moment, Michael untangled the knots in his heart. He proactively contacted the investigators, stating that his choice to attend the University of Mississippi was his personal wish because it was the school his family attended, and since his family studied there, he also hoped to go to that school. On the first day of school, the whole family sent Michael off to university. Anne repeatedly reminded Michael to study hard in university and to uphold the correct code of conduct. After giving her reminders, Anne returned to the car and cried alone. At the moment of parting, her heart was filled with reluctance. Michael took the initiative to knock on the car window and hugged his mother Anne tightly.